Well, with that, we're back in regular session. So there's a motion on the floor to accept the Argyle EMS nominee to serve as the Washington County to serve on the Washington County EMS Advisory Board, and that nominee is Mr. Edward Parker. And we had a second. Is that correct? I'm looking. We did. So I'm going to do a roll call on this one. Yes, ma'am. All those in favor? The roll call.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Half?
No.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Clary?
yes,
Mr. Odell?
yes,
Thank you. Motion's carried. Thank you for that. All right, Mr. Mason, is there anything else before the board? Or, I'm sorry, the committee?
No, that's the only thing I have. I do have a final comment, though. I don't wish any animosity for any. We're here to get along. We're here to do a good job, and we just want to continue to do that. I mean, my days are numbered here, but I just want to see this all continue down the road in good shape, like it's been my tenure. So I thank you all for your time, and anyway, I look forward to working with whoever on the advisory board. So in this case, it will be Edward Parker. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Christian Morris, I'm going to circle back around to the DA's office.
Thank you. My apologies to the committee for coming out of order and being late. I was on a call, so I apologize. I'm here to give updates on two issues. The first one being the forfeiture spending plan, which requires our office under the rules to spell out a plan for the money that we have in our forfeiture account. What I don't know, and I apologize for this, is whether or not what I have in my hand for that spending plan has already been submitted. If not, I'll certainly make copies of the committee.
It has been submitted.
Yeah, I believe we have a copy. Yep.
I wasn't sure if it had provided. This is the projected usage of the money that we see here. It doesn't always work out that the money actually gets used, but this is the way that it's allocated, and we're required to provide an allocation for those funds. So moved. Second.
Moved by Matt, seconded by David. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Carried.
Nay.
Oh, Mr. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm a nay. I'm against forfeiture.
Understood. One nay, I believe. Carried. Next up.
Thank you. The next one would be the Crime Victim Services update and request for permission to apply for a grant. Our Crime Victims Grant from the state provides a 3-year inflow of monies pursuant to the grant. That grant needs to be applied for by March 24th, 2022, for a grant start date there of October 1st. Everything we need to apply for it, there's no reason to believe we wouldn't get it.
Motion to apply for the grant. Dave O'Brien, seconded by Matt. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you, sir. Anything else for the committee?
Okay, my apologies for going out of order. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you, sir. Have a great day. Last but not least, public safety. I don't know if Glenn or Tim's going to take that.
Good afternoon.
Glenn? Good afternoon, sir.
Our grant updates for public safety. We have our State Homeland Security Grant Program. after the last couple of years, this is now a combination grant. So it's the SHSP, which is under public safety, and the SLETPP, which is the law enforcement terrorism grant. We received an award of $68,285, and that's broken down into $51,213 on the public safety side and $17,072 for the law enforcement side. So we're requesting a resolution to recognize the award and allocate those funds in the public safety and capital project accordingly for the treasurer.
I have a motion. Dave O'Brien, seconded by Matt. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Sir, continue, please.
Our second grant update is the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. Our current hazard mitigation plan was adopted in 2018 by the county and FEMA, and it is updated every 5 years. And we need to keep that up to date for the participating municipalities to receive their fundings for those projects. It's a federal grant, and it's a 75-25. The federal shares 75%, the local shares 25%, which can be a match in kind. So we can use our salaries, and there's a formula for using the salaries of the town participants as well to go towards the county's match. And then the update process for these plans usually takes about 24 months. So we're requesting permission to go ahead and apply for that grant.
Motion by Dave, seconded by Matt and Sue and John. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Sure, continue,
Sure.
please.
State Interoperable Communications Grant, we received our announcement for the fiscal year 21 grant. This year, to catch up due to backlogs with the pandemic, they're combining 2 years. So the fiscal 21 grant and the fiscal 22 grant are going to be combined into one grant. So we're expecting that we should see double the amount of what we usually get, since it's 2 terms rather than 1. We have submitted that application, and we're just awaiting the award. That's a formula-based award that the state uses our radio system and demographics to determine what that award is. We continue to utilize the funds from that grant to upgrade the communication system. We've completed our primary upgrade of the fire, EMS, law, and DPW communication system, and we're moving forward with replacing the secondary base stations at the towers and adding additional tower sites, and replacing and upgrading the radio consoles in the communication center. So that's just an update on where we are at that process. Our next update will be when we get the award. We'll bring that forward. The PSAP grant, that announcement has come out with the SICG as well. Our staff is working on the application for that, and that'll be submitted prior to the February 15th deadline. And that's a full reimbursement grant for allowable budgeted expenses. There's no match on that. Also, there's no match on the communications grant. And we continue to allocate those fundings towards the PSAP. Budget transfer requests, our emergency management performance grant. That's our one grant that is not a capital project. So it crosses over budget years. So we're requesting to reallocate our 2021 funds and bring them forward to 2022. So we're requesting the budget amendment as noted below.
Thank you, sir. Motion by Dave O'Brien, second. John Rozelle, Sue. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Sir, please continue.
And any questions on any of the grant stuff, Dwelly? And I will turn over to Deputy Director Hardy at this point. He'll finish out the rest of the report.
Afternoon, everybody. Just a quick update on the countywide EMS survey research project that we started late last year, about November. We ended up having to issue an extension on that due to some late responses from agencies. As of now, we have 6 of the 8 agencies have responded to us and given us some information to work with. So we're moving forward on our side and gathering the data relative to response and call data for the entire year last year. And then we're going to be setting up some workshops with a couple of the other counties that are either in similar situations as us or in the exact same situations as us to look at some options, potentially moving forward to place before the board and work with the agencies, seeing how we can best support our EMS agencies moving forward. So we're going to continue working on that. And we'll make sure that we give the committee an update monthly as we move forward with the rest of that. And the last thing that we have is our comprehensive emergency management plan. We put that out to our stakeholders for review every year and comment. So I just sent that out just prior to this meeting, and that's been distributed to all of our law enforcement partners, fire, EMS, agency captains and chiefs, and all of our department heads here at the county and all of our elected officials in the county. So we have until February 25th to get review or comment back on that for any updates. And then we'll bring that back before the board next month for full adoption. The last thing I have is we just want to extend our thanks to all of our local officials who were able to attend yesterday's Tier 3 emergency management training to go over your roles and responsibilities as chief executives in the time of a disaster or state of emergency. We appreciate your time on that. We will hold another one with Warren County, another joint session moving forward once we can get back to a little less virtual environment and get into an in-person environment. So there'll be some additional ones of those coming up. Anybody have any other questions?
Mr. Hanky?
Tim, that was a Tier 3 training. The Tier 1 training is just for the chairman?
Correct. The Tier 1 training is for the chief executive, so the chairman of the board or a county executive if we have one.
Any other questions? Glenn, Tim, thank you as always for your outstanding service and dedicated support. I believe next we have other business. Mr. O'Brien.
Oh, well, this is public safety. I thought the board, and especially some towns, and like to hear this. Yesterday I spent time, I don't remember how many hundreds of signatures it was, but I signed off on the pilot agreements for the CDI, PHP Express. That will be coming final, and PSC has their final hearings, but the signature cell signs, all the agreements have been signed and dotted and out there, so that was the first thing. The second thing, in January, case to the Warren County Supreme Court Justice Kay Hogan resolved before every LPDC and transferred the property for the dewatering facility to the IDA. So that's been transferred, and whatever LPDC has no longer any stake or any involvement in that property down there. Last thing is part of what also has happened is that public entity, bridge, now inventory in New York State, eligible for federal funding in the TIP. So it's good news that we got that money to have that funded by the state and
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hicks.
With that being said, Alex, can you tell us the tax status of the former eligible PDC property down there?
Our PO 2019, so now that I have relief from the moratorium, they'll be getting certified letters to be done for foreclosure, petition of foreclosure that would commence sometime this year. Essentially October tentatively if things move ahead as normally. Those taxes aren't paid by then, they will be eligible for that foreclosure.
Yes. Sue Clary.
Daryl, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing this afternoon. I'm not sure what's going on with, but I heard part of what Al said, but I didn't hear everything that was said between Dave and and Al? Did you just say that the auction could potentially be in October? Is that what I
Yes,
heard
for
you
the
say?
2019s and 20s, we're just now being able to commence with a certified mailing. So the timeline on that could put us at auction in October,
Okay,
which the property that I was just asked about is part of the 2019 enforcement. We can have, at a different meeting, maybe finance, we can have a conversation about the 2018, whether the board has an appetite to have two different auctions this year or roll everything into the fall. So that's to be continued. Stay tuned.
thank you.
So on the call, anyone else? Any other business before the committee? Seeing, hearing none. In the room, any other business for the committee?